assignments, doubts, exams. We have got you back. EduPlanner make every chapter easy to understand. Stay tuned, learn more, grow with us.
All right, so here we're looking at a question about atomic radius. We've been given three different atoms, potassium as a positive ion, and then chlorine as a negative ion. Then we have three choices for their radius. We have 227 picometers. We have another choice of 184 picometers, and finally a third choice of 133 picometers. Now, first of all, it's important to understand what radius really means. So when we're talking about radius, what we're really trying to communicate is the size of the atom. The larger an atom's radius is, the larger that atom will be. Now, for these problems, it's really important that you have a periodic table nearby, because the location of these atoms will tell us a lot about their properties, such as their radius or size. So what I'm going to try to do for you here is kind of show you where the atoms are positioned. So normal chlorine is kind of in the next to last column on row 3, and then potassium is in the first column or first group on period 4. So they're kind of close by with just one atom kind of separating them in terms of atomic number. Now, what let's go through and talk about first is just kind of the general trends in size. So typically, as you're going across a row on the periodic table, your atoms tend to be getting smaller, which means they have smaller radii. But on the other hand, typically as you go down a group, your atoms are getting bigger as the radius gets larger. So in most cases, we know that we can expect potassium to be larger than chlorine. So I'm going to leave myself a note kind of next to potassium that just says big, all right? So now what we need to do is kind of figure out about the ions themselves. So when you see a plus sign, what that means is that atom has lost one electron. So it has one less electron than what it started with. For potassium, if you look at its atomic number, it started with 19 protons, and it would have started with 19 electrons. However, since it's lost one electron, it'll be now down to just 18. All right. Now let's look at chlorine and talk about what that minus sign means. For chlorine, the minus sign means that it has gained one electron. It has one extra negative charge. For chlorine, if we look at its atomic number, it would have started out with 17 protons and 17 electrons. However, that one extra electron now puts it as a total of 18. Okay. So here's where we're going to find some helpful information to getting us to the final answer for this problem. All right. So typically, when an atom loses electrons, it tends to become smaller. That's because it has less electrons for the nucleus to try to pull in more tightly. All right, so we know that potassium, K+, is going to be smaller than just regular K. Now, the opposite is true when you gain electrons. That extra electron is kind of more difficult to pull in tightly, and so we know that negative atoms will be larger than the regular atom chlorine. Okay, but now what if we're comparing two different atoms? Here's where that electron data is going to come into play. So if we look, both of them have the same number of electrons, but different numbers of protons. Potassium, K+, happens to have more protons, which means its nucleus will be stronger, right? A stronger nucleus is better able to attract the electrons, resulting in a smaller atom overall. Chlorine will be slightly bigger since it has less protons to handle that same amount of electrons. So what we can expect is that K, potassium, just plain old potassium, is going to be the biggest, so we'll assign him the 227 radii. We know that chlorine, Cl-, is going to be the next biggest. And then finally, K+ will be the smallest with our